Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of The Morningside by Téa Obreht. This is a book from Random House. It's coming out March 19th, 2024. It's a literary fiction, I guess. I'll talk about the genre later. I received this book from Neck Alley in exchange for a fair review. Gentle, slow burn, and genre blending, The Morningside is a coming-of-age story that examines heritage and refuge. What is it about? There's a world you can see, and then there's one you can't. Welcome to the Morningside. After being expelled from their ancestral home, Sylvia and her mother finally settle at the Morningside, a crumbling luxury tower in Island City, where Sylvia's Aunt Enna serves as a superintendent. Sylvia feels unmoored in her new life because her mother has been so diligently secretive about their family's past. Sylvia knows almost nothing about the place where she was born and spent her early years, nor does she know why she and her mother had to leave. But in Enna, there is a person willing to give the young girl glimpses into the folk tales of her demolished homeland, a place of natural beauty and communal spirit that is lacking in Sylvia's lonely and impoverished reality. Enchanted by Enna's stories, Sylvia begins seeing the world with magical possibilities and becomes obsessed with the mysterious older woman who lives in the penthouse of the Morningside. Bezaduras is an enigma to everyone in the building. She has her own elevator entrance and leaves only to go out at night and walk her three massive hounds, one often not returning until the early morning. Sylvia's mission to unravel the truth about this woman's life and her own haunted past may end up costing her everything. Startling, inventive, and profoundly moving, The Morningside is a novel about the stories we tell and the stories we refuse to tell, to make sense of where we came from and who we hope we might become. Okay, that was long. Now, this is a book about a child on the brink of teenagehood, but it is no less compelling. In truth, I don't gravitate towards books about children, but this book is one of those that remind you of both the good and the bad about what it was like when you were a kid, when you still clung to the belief in things like magic. This story, as an overarching concept, is about a young girl in a tenuous and volatile situation using the only tool she has, her family's folklore, to make connections and understand the world around her. It is not a magical realism. She relies on superstitions and ritual in a way to keep her mother safe when she knows she has no ability to, and it's heartbreaking and totally understandable. The genre, as I said kind of earlier, is very interesting. I would call it, above all else, a literary fiction. It's not a fantasy, it's not magical realism, as I said, it's not a sci-fi. I don't understand why Goodreads is characterizing it as post-apocalyptic, or why some reviewers have done so, because while it is somewhat dystopian, it's a far stretch from apocalyptic. It does deal with climate change, but it's not Waterworld. It's also set in a different world than ours, but one that is so similar, it sometimes makes you wonder if she is talking about a real place. In my view, the book is clearly an allegory. It's not a fantasy or based in the real world. Then again, the book is vague enough that you could read it as being a real place, I suppose. I don't know, and I guess that's kind of the interesting about it. It is so kind of far removed from, yet also very similar to reality, that you can set it wherever the heck you want. In my view, it's yeah, I just said it. The language of the book is quite literary fiction, if you know what I mean, at times, but I really enjoy that style. I found it very compelling. In fact, my one kid woke me up 2 hours before I was supposed to one day, and instead of trying to fall back asleep, futile at that point, I realized I had 2 hours of uninterrupted time to finish the book, and I was so excited. In fact, I ended up reading it way too long, and then we were like getting up. I couldn't stop. I loved the lyrical cast of language, and while it might be flighty for some, I thought it was very beautiful. The story is interesting because it's one of those that carries a lingering dread of something bad happening, but you also get the feeling the book isn't going to traumatize you, that it's instead transporting you to something else. It's like the dread that we feel is not really so much a dread of, like, the world ending, but, a change, a transformative thing. The book even confirms for us near the start that this is not a story of a girl being abused or a predator lying in wait for a neglected child, but a story of loners coming together to help one another. I thought the way the child's goal of spying on this seemingly magical older woman in her apartment fueled the plot, but not the events that transpired around this and in her life, was expertly done. Because Sylvia is really just a girl, the spying on the older lady is her way of taking agency over her life, her way of figuring out something. It's also her distraction. The book also has a quirky cast of characters, such as the aunt. The relationship between mother and daughter was also one we've kind of seen before, but it's also one that I think is compelling to many readers. I used to avoid these kind of stories before I had my own kids, and in truth now I find them very interesting, and I like the kind of, I like those dynamics. The novel also brings up themes relevant to today, such as climate, war, refugees, the power and wildfire like spread of social shaming, and poverty. I honestly wasn't sure what to expect when I requested this book. In fact, I was on the fence about it at first, but I'm really, really glad that I did. I honestly can't say anything bad about it. I thought it was a lovely, poignant, beautifully told story, and I highly recommend it if you enjoy literary fiction or something that's just kind of, has its serious moments, but is overall kind of a story of hope. So yeah, thank you to NetGalley and the publisher for the e-arc. I really appreciate it.